I had been the operations manager at this company for 3 years, and it wasn't an easy job. My role revolved around making things work smoothly, streamlining processes, handling logistics, and overseeing the occasional fire drill. It wasn't glamorous, but I took pride in being the person who could solve problems without anyone noticing there was a problem in the first place. I was known for being dependable, the guy you called when something went sideways. But nothing in my career had prepared me for what happened last year. It started with a phone call from the HR director during my lunch break. She didn't explain much, only that she needed to see me immediately. That in itself wasn't strange. Part of my job meant collaborating with HR on everything from hiring workflows to policy rollouts. But when I walked into her office, the usual casual demeanor was gone. She looked tense. She handed me a document without saying a word. It was a spreadsheet, names of employees, department codes, and what appeared to be reimbursement records. My eyes scanned the rows, and then I saw my name. Next to it was a payment listed as $15,000 for consulting services. I froze. That couldn't be right. I'd never consulted for anyone while employed here, let alone approved a reimbursement like that. The HR director explained the situation. During an internal audit, they had discovered over $200,000 in fraudulent payments spread across nearly 2 years. The payments were small enough to slip under the radar, but had been consistent. She said my name was only one of several flagged in the investigation, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being implicated. I explained that I had no idea how my name got tied to the payment, and she assured me they weren't jumping to conclusions. Still, I felt a creeping sense of dread. My job revolved around accountability and precision. If people thought I had something to do with this, my reputation would be on the line. The days that followed were a blur of emails and tense meetings. I tried to remain calm, reminding myself that I hadn't done anything wrong. But the constant questioning started to wear me down. The HR director was sympathetic, but the CFO, well, he had a different tone. His eyes were always scanning, never fully meeting mine. It was as though they were waiting for me to slip up, waiting for me to crack. Later that day, IT contacted me. They had traced the source of the fraudulent approvals back to a dormant login, the account of my predecessor, Tom. He had left the company abruptly before I joined, citing personal reasons. I never gave it much thought at the time, but apparently his credentials were never deactivated, and someone had been using them to greenlight these fake reimbursements. I thought this was the break we needed, but what came next floored me. A week later, I was called into a meeting with the CFO and legal counsel. They told me the company had decided not to pursue the matter further. They wanted to close the books quietly and avoid the potential fallout of a public investigation. They reassured me that I wasn't a suspect, but also made it clear that I couldn't discuss the situation with anyone outside the company. It felt like a slap in the face. Someone had stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars using my department as cover, and the company wanted to sweep it under the rug. Even now, I replay the events in my head. Could I have caught it sooner? Should I have fought harder to expose the truth? The whole experience left a bitter taste in my mouth, not just because of the money that was stolen, but because of the way it revealed what the company truly valued, appearances over accountability. The weeks that followed felt like I was walking through fog. I kept my head down at work, but the sense of betrayal hung heavy. The trust I had in my colleagues and the leadership team began to erode. What kind of company would choose to protect its reputation over the integrity of its people? And how could I continue to work for a place that was willing to sacrifice honesty to avoid scandal? In the end, I made the decision to leave. Not immediately, but quietly in my own way. I started looking for new opportunities, searching for a company that valued transparency over secrecy, where accountability wasn't something swept under the rug when it became inconvenient. The experience changed me. It was more than just a career setback. It was a lesson in the limits of corporate loyalty and the price of silence. And though I never spoke about it again after I left, I couldn't forget the lesson I learned that day in the HR office, where my name was linked to something I had never done and I was treated like a criminal. For me, I learned that the truth always finds a way to come to light, even if it's not in the way we expect. But sometimes it's too late to undo the damage.